Hey, I'm Jeff and welcome back to another video. Did you know that the Monstera deliciosa, regardless of the variety that you have, does have a front and a back side to it, and knowing the correct orientation will help with the proper placement of a support stake. Now, in conjunction with highlight and the support system, this is how we achieve larger leaves with the holes and fenestrations that we all want. I'll be showing you everything on this little Thai constellation, what to look for, how to place a support stake in the pot. So let's get started. I've had this plant now for about 6 to 8 months and it has gotten 2 new leaves. The newest one here has its first fenestration and it's absolutely beautiful. I do have another Thai constellation, an elbow, an aurea, as well as numerous other just regular green monsteras. And everything that I'm going to show you will apply to those plants as well. The first thing you want to look for or look at is the leaf petiole right here. The majority of the leaf petiole that is attached to the stem will be facing forward. So this is the front of the plant, and you can see that with each new leaf, it kind of alternates. So there's one on the right, and then the next leaf goes on the left, and so on. It keeps doing that as it grows up the stem. Now, when you rotate it around to the back of the plant, you will have these large aerial roots. Here is a node. This node has a leaf, and on the opposite side of the leaf, it has an aerial root. This is the back portion of the plant, and this is the front of the plant. Now, you may have noticed the position of the leaves as well. So let's establish that, again, this is the front, but the newest leaf is facing away to the back. It should actually be facing this way, and that's because of the way the light is facing the plant. Whenever you have a plant on a support stake, you want to make sure that you have the light source in front of the plant so that all the leaves, or these little solar panels, oh, I don't want to rip that, face forward. So it's because they're getting top light that these leaves are kind of, I guess, off to the side. So that can definitely make it confusing when the leaf is facing the wrong way. You may think that this is the back just because of the way that the leaf is facing. Here is my younger elbow, and it's good to put a young plant on a support system once it has a large enough stem, just because each new leaf, as it produces or as it grows up the support stake, should be larger than the last. If you just have it laying in soil and it kind of creeps along the soil, the leaves might stay the same size for a number of months or years. When you give it the support stake and it grows up vertically like it would in its natural habitat, that's when you start to see the increasing size in the leaves. So that's why it's good to put a young plant on a support system. That's how most medium-sized monsteras from big box stores come, is they'll have multiple stems in one pot, and you'll see that they are kind of laying horizontal along the soil. So the portion that is laying against the soil with the aerial roots, that is the back side, and it's really easy to add a support system to that. You can take it out of the pot, you can separate them, so just stand it up, put it on a support stake, and you should be good to go. I do have a couple larger plants. This one right here is on a cedar support stake, and it is in an aroid mix, and you can see some pretty crazy aerial roots that are just kind of going all over the place. Here is another larger one, and then I have one back here which I'll show you in a second. This one is a propagated cutting which I placed in water. I did recently make a video on this one, having to upsize the glass container just because of all of the roots. Like, this is absolutely crazy. And the same thing with this plant. You can see that this is the front of the plant. You can see the majority of the petiole is on the front of the stem. When the plant will get a new leaf, it comes from the newest leaf petiole right here. So there's a little bump. This is where a new leaf will develop. And yeah, these are doing absolutely fantastic. Same with this larger one right here. It's got 2 new leaves, and I have cut a few off recently. You can see this is where I've previously made a cut. So this is where a leaf was at one time, and then the next leaf is on the right side. And then back here in the far corner, I have another monstera. This is my oldest one I've had for a few years, and I didn't stake it up until probably about a year ago. So it's just starting to size up, and it got its first hole in the leaf, and you can see how thick this stem is, or how thick it's gotten. It's really tough to actually get back here, but same, I'm getting caught up in some leaves here, but same thing, the leaf on the left, on the right, on the left, and so forth. This one's kind of veering off a little bit from the support stake, so I'm gonna have to correct that one, but I recently kind of repositioned this and repotted it. So yeah, it's doing well in its new soil, and I'm just waiting for another new leaf to form. You can see right here, this little bump area right there, that is where a new leaf is going to form from, and it looks like it's starting to pop out. So I should see a new leaf hopefully here in the next month or so. So now you know how to figure out if it is the front and the back. Now I'm going to show you how to properly add a support stake into the pot. And of course, with this Thai constellation, I'm going to be upsizing it into something a little bit larger just because it is super root bound. I'm going to be adding it into one pot size larger, and I'm going to be using this support stake. It doesn't have to be anything large. This is simply a bed slat from one of my kids' bunk beds. I had an extra set, so I just chopped this in half, and I'm going to be adding it into the pot. So the first thing that you need to do is take this plant out of its original pot. This thing is just, it's solid. It is solid roots. So I'm just squeezing it for right now. And I'm going to see if I can coax it out, but it doesn't look like it. So I'm going to use this to just provide like a little bit of upward pressure. I may actually have to cut this cup because it is in there pretty solid. I don't want to cut it because I like to, oh, there you go. I like to reuse these for other plants that I have. So now that I have this out of the pot, I'm going to try and lightly untangle the roots that are encircling. Crazy. Monstera roots are probably some of the most satisfying roots out there. They're just thick, chunky, and there is typically or usually a ton of them. So the reason why I'm untangling it is because I want to pick away at some of the dirt at the back of the plant, and I want the plank to be resting up like directly against the back of the plant. Now I don't want to break any of these, so try and be as delicate as you can. Now if you start knocking off roots, that's probably going to send the plant back just a little bit in regards to like development of new leaves. So as the plant grows, it pushes out more roots. Those roots, in conjunction with the light and the amount of leaves that it has, it photosynthesizes and it makes sugars in order to push out and produce new growth. So you don't want to take away or cut away some of these roots. Otherwise it might not grow for a while. It'll basically be using all its energy to repair those roots and grow new roots to sustain new growth. I didn't pick away at all the soil, just enough where I can get the plank as close to the back as I can, but I just want to show when you place the plank in the pot like this, and when you add the plant in like that, there's basically no room. I can barely even get this plant in. There's basically no room for the roots to expand. So this is just a little bit too small, even though it is the next size up. Just when you untangle the roots, there's a ton of roots. It was super root bound in this little pot. This just isn't enough room, so I'm going to have to upsize it to the next pot size, and I'm going to be using this terracotta pot. So when you place the plant in against the plank like that, you can see it does have some room in the pot to expand. So you don't want to go too small, but you definitely don't want to go too large. So I wouldn't go anything larger than this. So because this leaf is facing the wrong way, I'm just going to bring it around like that. Oop, it just falls right back. I'm going to, hopefully it stays like that, and I can place it against the plank, and then I'm going to add a support tie to this. I want the plank, the bottom of the plank, to be sitting on the bottom of the pot, but I don't want this, the bottom of the root ball, to be sitting on the bottom of the pot, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to raise it up slightly, just so that it's at an appropriate height. So I'm going to stuff that root in there. I want this part of the soil to be just below like the top of the pot, and that way I can add a little bit of soil in the bottom for these roots to grow into. Now I'm just going to lay this down like so, and then I will be using this plant Velcro, and I'm just going to kind of roughly eyeball how much Velcro I need, just around the back, so something like that. I'm going to take my little utility knife and just slice that. Now when it comes to adding the Velcro, do not just like secure a portion of the leaf petiole. That is absolutely wrong. Do not do that. Now what I like to do is place the Velcro behind a leaf so that it comes in contact with the stem, and then hold one side and pull that Velcro around just going to adjust it a little bit and then pull that Velcro around to the back. You can adjust it a little bit better once you have it positioned properly. So center in the plank, and it's not holding a petiole, it's actually just attached to the stem like that. And then I'm going to flip it around so it's a little off center. So I'm just going to correct that and kind of cinch it up a bit better like that. I've been using this VeryPlants Molly's aerated mix. If you're interested in trying this out, they do ship to the US, and they do. This is produced in Canada. I do have a link down in the description of this video as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of this mixture in the pot just at the bottom, and I'm going to add it to the front. So I'm just going to slide it like that, and then now I can hold the pot, place the plank at the very bottom, and then I can push down some of that soil so that it seats it properly like so. And then I'm going to add soil around and then at the back so that this remains nice and straight and upright. After I'm done filling this up, I'm going to give it a good watering. So I'm going to take it over to my shower and I'm going to spray it off, making sure that all the soil settles, but I want the plank to be a little bit damp as well, just so those aerial roots can be persuaded, I guess, to latch onto the plank. Going to add a little bit more in the back, and this should settle once it is watered here as well. Here's the finished product after it's sprayed and watered, and with each new leaf it should be larger than the last. This one is just absolutely beautiful. Look at all the speckling and just the variegation on this leaf is just absolutely beautiful. So I think that's going to be pretty much it for this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave it down below in the comment section. Thanks again for watching my videos. Thanks for all the support. Take care, everyone. Bye.